What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country that you need to know about here on a daily basis, including money, investing, the stock market, the fourth stimulus package update, and stimulus check update. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, make sure to click the subscribe button down below. It's completely free to do so. And remember that new videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, I'm going to wish each of you happy Father's Day. Let me know if you're celebrating Father's Day here this weekend, if you're doing anything special. And now even the White House says, check this out, that, the White House says exploration of gas rebate cards, aka whether you want to call these stimulus checks or debit cards or I don't know, whatever you want to call these. But remember that the last stimulus checks, they did actually send out some debit cards as well. Mostly stimulus checks, but also debit cards. But you can see here the White House exploration of gas rebate cards, complicated by chip shortages. Yeah, so the administration officials look at fuel rebates, emergency powers of diesel shortages materialize. Yeah, check this out. Senior White House aides are exploring new ideas to respond to high gas prices and are looking again at some that they had previously discarded, desperate to show that the administration is trying to address voter frustration about rising costs at the pump. And the closer we get to the election, I think the more and more things like this we're going to see materialize. Remember that they have a major SNAP and food assistance, food stamp conference, whatever you want to call it, coming up here in a few months before the election as well, which is the first time they've done this since they actually made or made the program so many decades ago. And I think they're probably going to either raise benefits dramatically or revamp the whole system dramatically. They may lower the eligibility requirements and raise benefits. Remember that there's about 40 million people that are currently on food assistance, SNAP benefits. So we also have a proposal here, a couple different, maybe one or two main proposals here, but the brand new one that just came out here, I'm not going to cover that in this video. I did one or two videos recently here, but I'll mention it here. I'll link you to that video here at the end of this video. Yeah, you can see here right from Senator Bernie Sanders' Senate Senate government page. Just here a few days ago, Senator Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and colleagues introduced legislation to expand Social Security and raise it by $2,400 a year for all Social Security beneficiaries, and extend the solvency by 75 years. And they also say, and it's backed here by a whole bunch of senators and representatives and stuff. And they actually said that the Social Security Administration actually vetted this, that it would extend the solvency by 75 years and they could increase benefits. So apparently Social Security, who's not Democratic or Republican. They're just, they're bipartisan. They don't really have a affiliation. They vetted it and looked into the math and said that they think it would work based on the math and the projections. So it's a very, very good proposal here. So I'll link you to that video here at the end of this. But check this out. So yeah, senior White House aides are exploring the new ideas to basically send out debit cards or stimulus checks to the public to combat gas prices. Yeah. And yeah, these efforts come amid early signs of a broader slowdown in the economy, which could ease inflationary pressures but also lead to higher joblessness and slower growth. On Friday, get this. Oil prices suddenly dropped to a 4-week low. A decline likely to push down gas prices. Yeah, we'll see, right? I'll show you this here in a second. The latest indicator of a potential recession after the Federal Reserve raised interest rates this week to try to contain inflation. And yeah, as you can see here, oil prices did drop pretty decently, about 10% almost, not quite. But remember that WTI crude was at 120. It's dropped down all the way down to 109.6. So that's remember, about it was at 120. So that, a $12 drop would be 10%, and it dropped, a little bit over $10 a barrel there. And Brent crude was at around 120-ish something as well, and is down to 113. So it is nice to see a drop there. However, these gas companies, yeah, do you think that they lowered their gas prices? Yeah. So far, we're seeing no drop at all for gas prices. Yeah. Yeah. So now, if gas went up or if oil went up that much, you could see here the national average here, gas prices in the US. If gas prices went up that much overnight, gas would spike up instantly, right? Isn't that exactly what would happen? By the next day, we would see it all around the country, right? Yeah, isn't that something? It's just unbelievable. But look at this, $5 a gallon average. Pretty much at a record high. 501 was the all-time high, so we're pretty much there. 579 for diesel is the all-time high. So yeah, we are still at record all-time highs, even though the price of oil nowhere near all-time highs. I believe the record price of oil. Yeah, so check this out. What is the record price for a barrel of oil? The peak price for a barrel of oil for crude oil was $168.75 in 2008. $168 a barrel. Well, we're at 113, guys. We were just at 120, okay? Give the oil companies a benefit of the doubt here, guys, because they're such nice companies, right? They're so nice to all of us, right? Sense my sarcasm, just in case you can't. Why are we at all-time high prices for diesel and gas if the all-time high previously was $168 a barrel for gas or for oil? And why are we at all-time high prices for gas now if we're only at 113 and we were just at 120? Literally the definition of gas and oil companies gouging us. They're taking the money and giving it to their shareholders. In fact, they're doing record buybacks, billions, tens of billions of dollars here. And they've also said, the CEO of one of the largest oil companies in the world says they're never going to build another refinery in the U.S. ever. They just don't want to spend the money on it. And a refinery has not been built in the U.S. in 50 years, since the 1970s. They just don't want to invest the money in the U.S. They'd rather just spend it on stock shareholder buybacks. So yeah, this comes as this week's staggering decline in the stock market, coupled with weaker than expected jobless claims and retail sales data, reflects the risks in the central bank's move, the Fed's move to crush inflation by tightening monetary conditions. Wall Street recorded its worst week since March of 2020, the early days of the pandemic, as investors struggle to adjust to the Fed's dramatic move. But still, Biden officials are taking a second look at whether the federal government could send rebate cards out to millions of American drivers to help them pay at gas stations. It's interesting that it's almost like they don't want to use the word stimulus check anymore. Because, a lot of, especially Republicans, they just kind of blame inflation on stimulus checks. But I feel like if you watch this show, even if you've even seen some other broadcasts, I think it was in the last video, um, gas prices all around the world are at $9 a gallon in Europe, $10 a gallon in Hong Kong. I mean, you can't blame this on their stimulus checks, right? You can't blame gas prices on that. You can't blame their inflation on that. Inflation in the UK is at 9%, higher than our 8%. Would you blame it on their stimulus checks and their stimulus package? I mean, again, everybody is kind of dealing with their own economic recovery. And remember that Trump actually sent out more stimulus checks than Biden. So it's just, I don't, the Republicans all want to blame it on Biden. The Democrats aren't blaming the stimulus checks. They're not blaming inflation on Trump's stimulus checks. Regardless, they had to do that. If they didn't, we'd have a great depression like we had in the 1920s and the 1920s and 30s. Our economic crash would have never came back. So that's why we've created systems like they did stimulus checks to support our economy, the Paycheck Protection Program, the unemployment they did because they basically shut down our country because a virus was coming and nobody knew how bad it was going to be. I mean, we do have 1 million deaths here in the U.S. from the virus. Here's a headline. Yeah, U.S. surpasses 1 million COVID deaths, the world's highest known total. There's 6 million across the entire world. So we didn't know how bad the virus was going to be. I mean, you can let me know how bad you think this is. 1 million people dead. Seems pretty bad to me. If you think about 1 million people. And then we also think about the economic problem of this virus or the pandemic. And now we're dealing with inflation. But realistically, inflation is just part of an economic recession. When you have a recession and you come out of a recession, especially because job growth is so hot right now, it's just kind of part of it. And really, our inflation and inflation all around the world. Remember, the UK's inflation is 9%. Gas prices all around the world are $10 a gallon. If you equate it to U.S. dollars, convert it to U.S. dollars and U.S. gallons, we're at $5 a gallon. They're at $9. That's like almost double. Imagine if our gas was at $9. People are complaining now at $5 a gallon, right? I know California is higher. Their average is in the sixes. I know some places are even more than that. But imagine if our average was, instead of 5, imagine if it was 9. You think it's bad now. People would be really losing their mind. I mean, that's like double. So that's how it is in a lot of other places in the world. You check my video right before this, and you'll literally see NBC with a broadcast showing you. So I'm not the only one saying this, right? You can just Google it, right? Price of gas in Norway, price of gas in Sweden, price of gas in Italy, price of gas in Hong Kong. There's literally all like 50% more than us. So it's just kind of part of the economic recovery. It's really not. But the problem here is that we still gotta try to do our best. And right now, the issue is deal with inflation and also kind of help the people that are hurting the most right now. And also deal with these gas companies that are literally just like they've like robbed the bank and got away with it, and they're like doing it every day. It's just like they're like robbing us blind. And honestly, so are the pharmaceutical companies, right? Those guys, they just charge us like they're charging me $56,000 for Alduhelm to everybody who pays for Medicare Part B. And then like, oh, well, we're gonna lower it to $28,000 so that everybody that pays for Medicare is getting a deal. Yeah, by the way, that's part of the reason why Medicare was so expensive this year. It went up from $148.50 to $170.10, was because of one prescription, Alduhelm, for, if you watch my channel, you know this, which is for Alzheimer's. And the prescription is only goes out to a very limited amount of people, but they make every single person on Medicare pay for it because that's just how Medicare works. It's just everybody has to pay into the system, right? It's just kind of how health insurance works, right? So, nonetheless, there's going to be a correction for next year. I'll keep you up to date on that. But this is kind of the problem with our economy, our society, is that there's large companies like gas companies and oil companies and health companies, pharmaceutical companies, healthcare companies, that these companies just make billions and billions of dollars, and in some ways they're almost like stronger than the presidency. They're stronger than like Congress in a way, because what they do is they get their grubby little hands in there, and they pay off people basically. They start shelling out money, and they start sponsoring all these congressmen, and then nobody wants to vote against them. You know, let's be honest, guys. I mean, it's what happens. And honestly, who knows how many other things this happens for? I mean, why is it that the US pays 2.5 times more on average for prescription drugs when they're the exact same prescription drugs sold in other countries by the exact same pharmaceutical companies? It's the exact same country or exact same company, the exact same drug. The US just pays 2.5 times more money because we just allow it. We just allow it to happen. And Congress, the Democrats and the Republicans, every year they bicker over it. They bicker over it. They bicker over it. And if whoever comes without proposal, whatever side comes out with a proposal, the other side votes no. And the Americans just keep paying for it. This is the truth, guys. This is what happens here. So what do? Congress has to do something. They're going to keep making these billions of dollars until somebody forces them some change. We might see some change with the gun reform, but it's very little. It's very little. But this is kind of how, honestly, this is how the change happens. Change doesn't happen until people get fed up. Until people get fed up. It takes stuff like what's happening with gas prices right now to force the change. Look at what the UK did. They slapped these gas companies with these windfall taxes. They finally did it because they were fed up. The US congressmen and congresswomen they haven't got fed up yet enough. They're wealthy enough and they're getting paid off enough that they just haven't got fed up enough yet. Or the people, the constituents, haven't pressured them enough yet to vote that way. I don't know how to put it. The UK did it. I mean, they're one of our closest allies. You got to look at what other countries are doing. You can't just say, okay, the US is just going to sit back and Keep letting them get away with it every year. Keep voting no every year. What do? We just keep taking it? You tell me, guys. You tell me in the comments. Let me know. We just let them. Remember, they're charging us more. Gas is nowhere near than the high. The high is $168 of oil in the past. Why is gas so high at the pump? They're just charging us what they want. The problem is you have to buy gas, just like you have to buy medication. You have to put gas in your car. Some homes need gas. You have to buy gas. These they have a monopoly. They're just, yeah. Let me know your thoughts here in the comments. Something's got to be done. We got to get fed up enough to make our congressmen and congresswomen do something. And remember that these gas and oil companies have government leases and government land. So let me know your thoughts here in the comments. I'm going to keep you up to date here. Make sure to subscribe down below to our YouTube channel. It's completely free to do so. And new videos come out here every day. I'll have a few less videos here for the Father's Day weekend, but don't worry, I'll have more videos coming out here soon. You can click the bell icon after you subscribe so that you get notifications when we go live. That's the easiest way to know when new videos come out. You can click here to watch my newest video next. And you can click here to see my newest video on stimulus checks. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video.